So, Jane Austen, July. Well, am I ready to talk about Jane Austen, July? Well, I wish this read-a-thon had gone better for me. It was kind of an impossible month for me. I knew this was a difficult time to do a read-a-thon, but it was Jane Austen, July, so I had to take a shot. So, needless to say, I did not finish my TBR, and I don't even know what I was thinking by setting it as high as I did. It was my first time participating in Jane Austen July. Hopefully next year I will do much better. I will make a plan. I will know ahead of time. But let's get into what I did finish. So I finished 2 books for Jane Austen July. But wait. I am pretty much near done with Persuasion. I'm on chapter 22, 23, kind of in between there. And I'm not sure, that's on my audiobook because it's different in my physical book, and it is right here, the physical book. And my physical book, it has 2 parts, so it doesn't go up to 20 something. I was a little confused. It doesn't come up to here it has me at this chapter 11, but this is in part 2, and I actually think I have gone farther along since I was reading in this book. So the 2 books I did finish was the Jane Austen Project. The final book I read was Lady Susan. I didn't have a huge TBR. I kind of pared it down some. I started off with a couple books, and then I kind of edited those books out, so they won't be mentioned here. But the ones I kept, I will mention, even though I didn't finish them or even got through maybe the first 5 chapters of them. I do plan to finish them all. In fact, all the books that I have that I thought about reading, I do plan to finish reading. I just don't know when I will get around to finishing them. The Jane Austen Project was about 2 time travelers from the future, Rachel and Liam, who go back in time to Jane Austen's period in 1815. They are charged with striking up some type of friendship with Jane Austen's brother Henry, so that they can gain access to Jane in hopes of retrieving a manuscript of Jane's that was not published in her lifetime. And this mission was undertaken because they believe that retrieving this manuscript will help in their future time period. I do not remember what the idea was behind this. I do remember that there was other trips made to the past. So Rachel and Liam were not the first time travelers from this department, organization, what have you, to go back in time. But because of the knowledge that they have, they know that it's very important that they do not affect history, even though they will be affecting history in some way. But so they are trying their very best not to do much damage to the timeline, because time is fragile, and there could be a lot of events that could change when they come back to the future. So they're trying their best not to make too much of a wave that will affect their time period. And they're trying to get the Watsons the manuscript of Jane Austen that is in question, that researchers from the future would like to obtain. So this is their mission, and during the course of the mission, things happen, plans change. I really enjoyed reading this book. I enjoyed the characters. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and I would have probably given it 5 stars, but I have an issue. I don't really like steamy scenes in books, and there was a couple in this one, and I really didn't think they needed it. I think the author could have probably done, the book would have done well without it, but I mean, I'm not the author, and so just because of that, I gave it 4 stars. But ultimately, it's probably a 5-star book if you don't have an issue with that then, and you like Jane Austen, and you're into that kind of a bit quirk of a story, then I think you like this book. I really did enjoy this book. Like I said, that was the only quirk I had about it. But and I read it in 2 formats. I read it on my e-reader, and then I also had it on audio, so I went back and forth. I really enjoyed listening to it, but I liked reading it so I could grasp the content of the words better. But that was the Jane Austen project, and I really recommend it, and I think it was a unique story, and I liked it. I was a little particular about the ending, but you let me know if you read this book what you thought, and what you thought of the ending. So the next book that I finished, the final book that I finished, was Lady Susan, and this is the first time I read Lady Susan, and I really enjoyed it. It's written in letters, so it's an epistolary, I believe, story. I hope I said that right. And I did this one on audio because my collection of Jane Austen novels didn't include this book. I couldn't get it on an e-reader from my library app. I could only get it on audio, so I did this one on audio. Listening to this on audio, you really hear the different voices of the characters through their correspondence with each other, and I really enjoyed that. Since I had seen Love and Friendship, which is Lady Susan, that they adapted for the screen, I'm not sure if there's a lot of differences, because I have not seen the movie in such a long time, but I did enjoy watching the movie, and so I had seen the movie before I read the book, and so I did have a little idea of what the book was about. I still don't like Lady Susan. I didn't like her in the movie. I don't think you're supposed to like her. I don't know, maybe some people might like her, but I didn't really particularly care for her. I felt sorry for her daughter, Frederica. I think in the movie adaptation, I think we got a little bit more of her character, was more involved in the movie. In the story, I don't think we hear as much from her, and I kind of wish we did because I enjoyed that part of the movie. And I know the title is Lady Susan, so it's mostly going to be about Lady Susan. But I enjoyed listening to the book, and I want to get a copy. I was in the process of trying to get a copy of Lady Susan, but I was having a hard time finding a copy and one that aesthetically pleasing, one that I would want to own. So, which is the reason why I decided to go through my Libby app and hence the audio version. But I really enjoyed it. Obviously, I gave it a 5 stars on Goodreads. And that is the conclusion of the 2 books that I did finish. I also want to mention a few other books that were in my TBR that I did not get around to finishing or even practically starting. So the first being The Other Bennet Sister. This book is about Mary Bennet, and I was very happy to start reading this book. And that is all I did, was start to read this book. I want to finish it, and I will eventually do that, but I am very happy to hear that there is a story about Mary Bennet, and I'm looking forward to hearing about that. Another book that was on my TBR that I did not finish was Pride by Ibi Zoboi. I enjoyed reading it. I think I might have been in the 3rd or 4th chapter. I don't really remember. Possibly might have to reread what I've already started because just depending if I can recollect once I get to the part where I left off. But I was enjoying this story. So Pride is a book by Ibi Zoboi. It's a reimagining and retelling of Pride and Prejudice. It's told through the story of Zuri Benavides, and she is a girl living in Brooklyn, New York, when a new family comes to move into her neighborhood, hence the Darcys, and her sisters and her are quite intrigued by this new family. They have sons who seem to be pretty interesting to the girls, and right away they tend to make their acquaintance. I was pretty taken with this book. I did like how this author chose this setting for this retelling. I really am happy to hear that Zuri Benavides kind of reflects a little bit of my culture. So I'm quite intrigued by this story, and I'm really looking forward to finishing it. For the Jane Austen Read-A-Thon, you could also watch screen adaptations of Jane Austen movies. I don't know the particular challenge, so I'm not sure exactly the exact challenge, how it was worded, but I chose 3 adaptations that I'm very fond of. Sense and Sensibility, 2008 BBC adaptation. Emma, the BBC adaptation from 2009 with Johnny Lee Miller as Mr. Knightley. This is one of my favorite portrayals of Mr. Knightley. I have seen several adaptations of Emma. So far, I have to say that I do prefer Johnny Lee Miller's portrayal of Mr. Knightley, but then, like it happens, you see one, and then you're like, oh, well, I really like him as well. But I've seen Johnny Lee Miller also portray Edmund Bertram in Mansfield Park, and I really liked him as Edmund as well. And I guess I just like this actor. I wasn't very fond of the actor who portrayed Mr. Churchill in this adaptation of Emma. I don't know, there was just something that was a little off for me. I also watched Persuasion. Is my very favorite story from Jane Austen. I love Pride and Prejudice. I don't know what it is about Persuasion, but I just gravitate to Persuasion. So I knew I wanted to see Persuasion. Emma, I had seen that it was on HBO Max, and I could stream it, and it was the adaptation with John Lee Miller, so I wanted to see that one. And of course, Sense and Sensibility is one that I kind of pushed myself to watch. I wasn't going to read the novel, and I thought I would decide to just watch the screenplay. It made sense since I watched Clueless to watch Sense and Sensibility, so I chose to watch Sense and Sensibility instead of Pride and Prejudice. But I usually will put on a Pride and Prejudice every so often, so I just thought Sense and Sensibility would be the one to watch this time around. I didn't get to watch Mansfield Park. I was looking for it. I don't own that movie, and so I was searching for some free screenings, some free streamings of Mansfield Park, but I never did find one, so I wasn't able to watch that one. I wanted to watch Northanger Abbey as well, and unfortunately, I thought I owned it, but I guess I don't, and I unless I just don't know where that DVD is at, but I wasn't able to get a free stream of that one either, so I guess that's another movie that I have to put on my queue on Netflix. But I really did enjoy all the movies that I watched this month for Jane Austen July. You can watch them anytime, really. A lot of times I will see them available, and I just I don't have the time to just sit down and enjoy it. But this month I decided I'm gonna make the time and enjoy this, and I tend to like to watch these by myself. I tend to like to watch them at night. I don't know why, I just kind of prefer to. But usually I have watched them during the day when I have more time to myself, that I could just be alone and be able to watch this, because I don't like to watch these movies with other people that don't enjoy them as well. And I'm the Jane Austen fan in my family, so I usually watch these alone, except with the exception of Emma, that I did see with my daughter at the theater, and Clueless, of course, I watched also with my daughter. But for the most part, I tend to like to watch these by myself. It's just some guilty pleasure of mine that I enjoy. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Apologies if it's quite long. I was hoping it wouldn't be. I always try to get them down, and I noticed that they tend to be pretty lengthy. But if you have stuck around to this point in the video, I do appreciate it. I really am very grateful for your viewership, and maybe you might consider to subscribe to my channel, or perhaps come back again for another visit and watch another video. But until next time, take care, God bless, see you soon, bye.